Hi there, it's Jansen from VMO. Welcome back to the VMO YouTube channel. So, as some of you might know, I'm actually a guide on the shores of the Bristol Channel, and some of the anglers I take out, they show particular interest in one bit of my kit, and it's this, the VMO baiting tool. I'm going to show you how to use it right now. So, before I demonstrate how I bait up with this VMO baiting tool, let's just take a closer look and see what it's all about. So, we've got this obviously metal handle and two prongs that protrude from the end. So if we take a closer look at the prongs themselves, you'll see we've got a hole in one of them and the other one is pointed. Now, the idea of this is that if you've got baits such as frozen black lug, for example, you can push them on over the prongs and use it in a traditional baiting needle fashion, whereby you'd push the point of the hook into the hole, slide the bait off and onto your hook and trace line. Now, because I don't use worm baits very often, and when I do, I literally slide them onto the trace line, I don't bother with a baiting tool, I'm going to actually show you how I bait up with a fish bait. So the whole idea of this, as I say to my clients, it's like an extra pair of hands. When you've got a bait which is partially defrosted and it starts to become quite soft and maybe even a little bit mushy, it's quite difficult to work with. It can slide around all over the place. You get bait juice and slime on your hands and it just makes it difficult to work with. So this is how I go about things. There's the bait tool, pop that down there a second. And what I've got here is a pack of half beaks. And this is basically like a bluey substitute. Recently got these from Ammo. Very nice bait actually. I've caught rays and eels on it so far. Oh, and dogfish, but of course you'll catch dogfish on any kind of bait. So let's get into these and get them on that bait tool. So the ever faithful Cedra scissors, and I actually cleaned these the other day after a comment on the last video, so thanks for the heads up. There you go, look, absolutely sparkling. Let's get them dirty. So we'll take one of these half beaks out, and they actually look kind of like a cross between a garfish and a bluey. Really nice looking bait. So one half beak on the chopping board, filleting knife, and all I'm going to do is take a fillet off like that. Not the best fillet, knife's not very sharp, but there you go, you can see where we're coming from with this. Back onto the bait tool, bait elastic, obviously. I really like this new super latex elastic that we're doing now. It's incredibly fine, it's super stretchy, and it doesn't look OTT on your bait. So let's get into this packet with slippery fingers, thanks to that little oily fish. Tell you what, let's be a Neanderthal and just do that. That's better. Right, so latex elastic, as I say, super stretchy. Back to the bait tool, and the whole thinking behind this, like I say, it's like an extra pair of hands. So this bait, I'm going to pop it on there like that. A little bit long, this one, so we'll take our scissors and we'll just trim it down. I'd say somewhere about there. Nice little ray bait. And we're going to pop that onto the bait tool like this. We'll go with the thicker end of the fillet at that end, I reckon. And I'm just going to take the bait tool, and before I've even got hooks or trace line or anything like that involved, we're just going to use this bait tool. And what I'm aiming for is a relatively straight bait that's going to be able to have the potential anyway to be cast a long way if necessary. We're looking for an aerodynamic bait. And look how easy it is, just holding onto the handle of the tool and whipping that on there. plenty of elastic, and that'll do about there. So you should have something like that. And what we can do now is offer up the hooks and the trace line to the bait. So let's grab that. Now, whether you're using a traditional pennel rig such as this or a dongle, doesn't really matter. But what I'm going to do here is take the baited bait tool, nick the hook in the end. It's a nice tough bait, this half beak. And I'm just going to hold it in there. And you can see where we're going with this. I take my elastic. I'm just going to whip the bait, the hook, and the trace line alongside the bait tool. Now, what I like to do is, as I'm holding the handle of the bait tool, is hold the trace line alongside the bait. And if we just tease that round, because some of it was slipping round ever so slightly, there we go. And I'm just going to whip around, keeping that trace line nice and tight. Plenty of that on there. And I tell you what else, this actually makes a really good sand eel substitute, this half beak. I know in some areas at the moment it's difficult to get hold of sand eels. It's one of those baits that they do sell out very quick when they do come into shops. Plenty of elastic on there, don't be shy with it. And that's pretty much it. And I'm just going to snap that off. I don't bother tying it off or knotting it in any way. And once you're done, just going to slide the bait tool out like that. And that is the end result. You've got a nice aerodynamic straight bait. Takes very little effort to prepare. And if you've got a soft bait, the bait tool is perfect for managing it. And you can literally put layers of bait on this. I'll show you now. There we go. And there's no set way of doing this. Everyone has their favourite ways. You don't have to use the same baits as everyone else and do it the same way every time. So I've got these nice two pieces here. And again, all I'm going to do is lay that onto the bait tool, whip it around. He's watching us. And you can see that would be slopping around on the trace. Obviously the trace line is not rigid. It's gonna flop around, slide in your hands. Let's whip that on there like that. That's great. Now we can get this nice piece here, all the blood and guts on it. I can wrap that up too. Look at that, lovely. Loads of scent, oil, blood and guts. That's a nice looking ray bait on there. And what we could even do is with the existing bait, if you did want to go a little bit heavier, let's just shore up those hooks. If you wanted to go for a super-sized bait, again, I'm just going to hold that alongside the bait tool. We've already got the one bait on there. So this is basically a whole half beak now. And I'm just whipping that all together. And if you were to present the half beak as it was, in its entire whole form, obviously nothing wrong with that. But I prefer doing something like this. Lots of layers of blood and guts, juice, guts, the whole lot. And you cast a bait like this out and it hits the surface, it's really going to create an oil slick. There'll be bits of flesh drifting off in the tide. That will also entice fish in. And It's the perfect kind of bait, this, for the Bristol Channel, where fish are feeding on scent rather than visually. And again, look how easy it is with the tool. Everything is on there, an absolute treat. So that's that one pretty much there. And again, I'm just going to snap that off. And with the bait tool, I'm going to slide it out. And there you have it, a nice, big, fat, juicy looking bait. If you want it to be really fussy, you could then use your scissors and just trim off the excess. Don't really want anything below that bend of the hook. Again, at the top, give it a little haircut. And there you go. A nice, whopping great big ray bait. Perfect for thornbacks, blondes, congers, dogfish, bass, whatever else you might be targeting. That looks absolutely beautiful. And it is so easy to make a concoction like that using the bait tool. Fantastic bit of kit. Obviously, we've used half beaks today. You could use bluey, squid, mackerel, garfish. Garfish is a very underrated bait. And sand eels, launce, anything else you choose for that matter. But I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. Look out for more videos to come, and I'll catch you again.